Hi, it's me, Deborah Rose again, and we're continuing in the book, The Fundamental Laws of the Universe. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. We're going to talk about the law of cause and effect. And all of the universal spiritual laws, they're connected and they're dependent on one another. And none of the laws really stand on their own. So that's an explanation why there are so many different lists, from anywhere from 70 to 50 laws, depending on who you listen to and who you research. It also explains why there's so much confusion about the name of the laws and talking about their definitions and the properties. So today we're going to talk about cause and effect, but it also is related to the law of attraction. The law of attraction states that where we pay our attention, that draws the same energy to us. Contrarily, the law of cause and effect relates to the causation of everything that we experience. It's about the choices that we make, and through free will and understanding every choice of thought and action, it then results in a consequence or a result. And these affect the world around us as much as they affect us personally. So the law of karma can sometimes be interchanged with cause and effect, but there is some differences. Karma is about the purpose for being in human form. It dictates that the soul's general purpose is to experience, and through these experiences, to learn life lessons. So there's a specific point to karma, and it's to teach us. The concept is also similar to cause and effect, with the reward for positive actions and reparation for mistakes made. But the difference with the law of cause and effect, in contrast, is that it just exists. There's no purpose or intent to cause and effect. There's A, and then there's B, and you get C, whatever that looks like. So we create our world through what we do and what we think. The simple definition of the law of cause and effect is every effect has a specific and predictable cause. Every cause or action has a specific predictable effect. Causes are the thoughts that we hold, the decisions that we make, and the actions we take. Effects are the consequences. They're very predictable, and they're the final outcome. And this is how we set these in motion, is through our thoughts and through our actions. The law of cause and effect is very important to our lives, and it forms the basis of concepts such as responsibility and accountability. By focusing on the result, the effect or the consequence, we can begin to act with purpose and intent, changing what we create, and again, changing the effect by changing the cause, which is the original thought or action. So as we think, so as we become. Okay? Another way of saying this is what you reap is what you sow. So let's use that metaphor in this example. You want to determine that you want to grow tomatoes. You till a patch of land for your garden. Nothing happens, nothing grows. It's just dirt. Eventually, if nothing else is done, plants begin to emerge. These plants seem to be random and unpredictable. In actuality, if you track the movements of birds in the area and log the types of plants nearby, you would realize there is no random or unpredictable result. But you want a predictable crop of only tomatoes. So in the second experience, you gather seeds left from the gardens of other crops that have been harvested. You plant them, and some of them do produce tomatoes. When you planted the seeds without attending to the type of seeds you were planting, you could not be sure what plants, which are the consequences, would emerge. While some turned into tomatoes, others did not even grow. And then others were squash, beans, cucumbers, flowers, and there were even weeds, because you didn't determine what seeds you were planting. Some were edible and some were not. In your third experience with this, you tend first to the consequence you want, growing and harvesting tomatoes. You realize that to get tomatoes, you must plant seeds that are specifically producing tomatoes. You gather tomato seeds, then plant them in your tilled garden. You sow only tomato seeds, and thus only tomato plants emerge. For every action, there is a reaction. This is based on the equal energy to the original thought or action and the resulting consequence. But while it is an equal energy, it is not the same energy, because each of us has free will and choice, not only to how we will act, but how we will react. What's interesting about cause and effect is that there's no reference to lessons. It's not about learning the lessons. It's about setting your intent and moving forward to achieve that. So the most important things to remember about the law of cause and effect are we are in charge of what we create. Our thoughts create our beliefs and our system of filtering the information we receive from our interactions in the physical world. What we filter out does not get created. What we filter in is what is created. This is how our world becomes. If we don't like the world we've created for ourselves, we can change it. Begin by changing your thoughts. I think that Florence Scovel Shinn said it very well. She says, our word is our wand. We do create our magic. So the law of cause and effect is very, very empowering. It means that by aligning our thoughts and actions to the consequences we want to produce, we can create health, wealth, joy, great relationships, whatever we choose. It's important that this alignment is in keeping with our own spirit and it's ecological for others in our lives as well. So an example of why prayer can be so powerful, even when some of the people don't actually believe in prayer. And I'm thinking about Natalie Wood at the end of The Miracle on 34th Street when she was a little girl. And they keep telling her to believe in miracles, to believe in Santa Claus. And she's sitting there going, I believe, I know it's silly, but I believe. And even though it was very evident she didn't completely believe, she manifested her wish by having a very clear vision. She had even cut a picture out of a magazine of what she was looking for. She could see the house and even the swing in the front yard. The key that anchored it was her ability to even feel herself swinging. So the subconscious mind does not distinguish between an experience we have physically and one that we've actually created in our minds. So if we create the experience in our mind with sufficient clarity and with the emotions associated with having that experience, and if we continue to experience it, it will become a reality. And this right here is one of the basic foundations for NLP programming, neuro-linguistic programming. So here's an activity. Vision boards are wonderful tools. So if you've ever constructed one and not gotten results, it could be that you may be able to see the end result, but you don't feel the end result. When setting forth a goal that is written or in a picture, the next step is to ask yourself, how do I feel if I put myself in this picture? So if the goal is a new home, you would say, can I see myself in this new house? Do I feel like I'm home in this new house? If you feel the least amount of discomfort or have trouble completing the emotion to go with the goal, it is time to assess your internal feelings and dialogue to move yourself forward. One of the ways that you know that you're achieving the success of your dreams, can you see it? Can you feel it? Can you hear it? Can you taste it? It has to be experienced with all of your senses. So, first question here on another activity. Ask yourself why you had a particular expectation. Was it because you had tasted the cake made by someone else and they gave you the recipe? We're talking about a cake here. Did you assume that it would, if you had the recipe, that you would get the same results exactly? Or perhaps it was because you remember something similar and hoped it would turn out the same. Maybe it was simply because you begin every new project with the expectation it turns out well. So if someone gives you the recipe and you'd had previously eaten the result, did you follow the recipe exactly? If not, well, it might be safe to assume that whatever you did had a consequence and changed the result. If you did follow it exactly, could your oven vary in temperature from the other person's? Were there any ingredients that might have varied in size or texture or quality? Could the other person have left out an ingredient or a step, like using ice water for the pie crust or mixing the eggs and sugar first? So there's so many variables that can affect the cause and effect of your outcomes. So try something new, but be aware that it may not always work out the way you thought it would unless you put the energy behind the thought. Y'all have a great day today.